So I recently finished Dune, the book, and it has to be probably one of the best novels I've ever read in my entire life. It is, I think, the penultimate science fiction literary work that has ever been written. And for me, Dune is really special. It's such a unique take on the sci-fi genre, and it was written in the 60s, which is nuts. And I thought part one, the movie, Dune Part 1, was incredible. I think it captured the essence of the book in the same way that Peter Jackson captured the essence of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings books. You know, they weren't exactly one-for-one adaptations, but they were the same in spirit. And I really am so stinking excited to see Dune Part 2. This is probably one of my most anticipated movies ever of my lifetime. And I'm being hyperbolic, but I'm very excited. The trailer dropped about a week ago, and I didn't have time to do a reaction video, but I wanted to break down the trailer because it's an incredible trailer. It gives me goosebumps every time. So let's see what we got here.
It's breathtaking. When you see sand here, imagine water. If you dive in, you can't reach the bottom.
You dive in.
Yes, it's called swimming.
So this is a nice little moment with Paul and Chani just kind of, almost getting to know each other. Because at the end of the first movie, they're practically strangers. He sees her in visions, and he meets her at the very end of the movie after he kills Jameis. But so this is a nice little moment just to see them kind of, exchanging some words and kind of getting to know each other better. And I'm digging it.
I don't believe you. In the shadows of Arrakis lie many secrets.
So this is Paul's mother and Paul's mother, Jessica. And this is a really interesting basket thing they have her in. I don't know what exactly that is, but I think it's kind of to keep her out of the sun of Arrakis. But at this point, it seems like she has become the Reverend Mother for the Fremen. And so in the Fremen Siege, they have a what's called a Reverend Mother. And Jessica actually takes the water of life to transform her into what is called the Reverend Mother. So not a huge spoiler, but it is something that's really interesting that they're capturing here. And looks like she has some crazy markings on her face and everything. And I think the Fremen is one of the most fascinating aspects of Dune, the story. And so this is really cool to see.
But the darkest of them all may remain.
See, I love that because Princess Irulan, that's who Florence Pugh is playing. She's the princess. She's the daughter to the emperor, the Padishah emperor of the known universe. And in the books, Princess Irulan actually narrates the intros to every chapter, to most chapters of the book, to where she has like a little excerpt. She's almost like a historian of Arrakis, and especially of Paul, who, a little bit of a spoiler, but later on gets his character takes a pretty dark turn. So this is really cool to see her kind of commenting and recording history as she sees it.
The end of House Atreides.
Your father didn't believe in revenge.
Yeah, I have to comment just on the absolute brilliant cinematography. I believe it's Greg Frazier, if I'm not mistaken, who's the cinematographer. And he worked with Denis Villeneuve on Arrival and Blade Runner 2049. He might have worked on other movies with him as well, I'm not sure. But as a cinematographer, I think he's literally one of the best in the business. I mean, he's just every shot is eye candy. So this is great.
What if Paul Atreides were still alive?
So.
Let me back up a little bit. That is Austin Butler as Fade Routha, the feared nephew to Baron Harkonnen. Harkonnen, however you want to say it. I think it's inspired casting. Sting from the 1984 movie is a ton of fun, but I really am curious to see what they do with Fade Rautha in this movie. Because in the books, he's kind of in it here and there, but he's not really like a main character. But I think they might make him a little bit more prominent in this movie. So Austin Butler, I think, is an incredible actor. So I think he'll do a great job. So that scene there, that looks, at least from what I can tell, that looks like one of the Fremen is offering the water of life to either Jessica or Paul. And so that'll be a really unique scene if they go kind of full psychedelic with it. That's going to be really interesting to see because you could have a lot of creative freedom there.
Have you ever had a dream about your first ride?
So little details that make me so happy with Denis Villeneuve in his adaptation of Dune is little things like Chani in the book is described at this point as having a blue headband just like she does. It's such a little detail, but it's just confirmation that Denis Villeneuve has read Dune. He understands the source material, and he's really doing his best to bring it to life.
Don't try to impress anyone.
Still go.
You're brave, we all know that.
So this line right here is literally directly from the book. Stilgar is talking to Paul and basically saying he's going to try to ride a sandworm here. And this is a huge moment in the book. And Stilgar pretty much tells Paul, hey, don't do anything fancy. Don't do anything, anything crazy. We know you're brave. We know that you can do this, but it's very dangerous. You don't have to impress us. So it's another instance of Denis Villeneuve just going back to the book and taking lines directly from it, basically just saying, the book is enough. This is perfect dialogue. This is exactly what we need in an adaptation of the material. So this looks awesome.
Be simple. Be direct.
This is so intense. In the 1984 movie, which, just to be clear, I love David Lynch's 1984 Dune. I think it's an incredible movie, especially visually. It's one of the most interesting movies I've ever seen. But it's an older movie, and when Paul in that movie tries to ride the sandworm, it's not as exciting as it should be. I think now with modern technology, as far as CGI goes, and just modern filmmaking, it makes for, this is going to be an incredible scene. And of course, they're only showing a little bit of it, but this could be one of the most incredible scenes in modern cinema if Denis pulls it off right. So we'll see.
Nothing fancy.
I understand.
So in the book, they actually pull those hooks. I think it's onto the scales of the sandworm, and it basically pulls that scale back to where it forces them to not go and burrow into the sand so that they can stay on top of the sandworm. So it pretty much looks like what's going on here. And so that's really cool to see.
Nothing fancy.
Stilgar's face there. This almost seems like the moment he realizes he is the Lisan al-Gaib. He is the Kusat Haderach. He is the one He is the chosen one. And it's almost like a religious experience for Stilgar here. He's seeing history in the making. And it's such a great moment. Love it.
You will never.
That's a really cool scene in the book where Fade Routha is in the arena and he's fighting all of these captured prisoners. And I won't go into too much detail because, if you haven't read the book, I don't want to spoil anything. But it's a really good scene, and it seems like they're going to do it justice.
Lose people and trainings.
Every scene is a masterpiece. It's so visually striking. And I know some people were like, yeah, it looks kind of dull and flat compared to David Lynch's movie. And in some respects, I understand that, but I think this is a more accurate take. It's more like a sort of realistic take on the Dune, on the book. This is how Dune would look if it was literally real. So I really dig it.
We gave them something to hope for.
That's not hope! May thy knife chip and shatter.
That is wonderful. May thy knife chip and shatter. Again, another line taken directly from the book. It's so good. And that's the scene between Paul and Fade Routha, which is kind of destined. Because of the Bene Gesserit breeding program, Jessica Paul's mother was not supposed to have a son. She was supposed to have a daughter, but she chose to have a son instead. And Fade Routha is almost the anti-Paul Atreides. So only one of them can survive because they can't breed together because they're both males, obviously. So it's either Paul or Fade Routha. And it's a wonderful scene from the book. It seems like they're going to just make it so cinematic and glorious. So I'm obviously incredibly excited for this movie. Let me know what you thought down in the comments. Let me know if this is a movie that you're looking forward to. For me, no other movie really matters at this point. As long as I get to see Dune Part 2, I'll be happy. So anyway, thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you later.